Boeing MQ-25 Stingray. Unmanned power. The Pacific Ocean is vast, and for some reason, the sound of American aircraft can always be heard. Do you know who the most important people in aviation are? Of course, it's the people who launch the aircraft. But imagine something like having a jet engine attached to your backside. The most important flights are always done by humans, but the important ones will now be done by artificial intelligence. We are introducing the Boeing MQ-25 Stingray, the first aircraft carrier-based unmanned aerial refueling aircraft in history. It looks very easy, but it's actually very difficult. It just looks like transporting fuel. The Americans will put a lot of effort into being #1 in the air, with maintaining superiority in unmanned systems for many years to come as one of their main goals. Before the Stingray, only manned FA-18 Super Hornets, warplanes temporarily converted for tanker duties, in the U.S. Navy could perform in-flight refueling. This was not ideal, as these refueling operations were diverting these aircraft from combat missions to provide support, which was problematic. The MQ-25 changed this paradigm. It offered an unmanned flight capability that could perform refueling operations that even humans couldn't accomplish with this aircraft. This aircraft is not exactly a gas station. It plans to become #1 in the world by combining human and machine power from traditional human-managed air fleets. The MQ-25 not only fulfills its mission, it redefines it. The primary purpose of the MQ-25 is to refuel aircraft in flight, but its significance lies in the opportunities it provides for the rest of the carrier air wing. The Stingray, which takes on the refueling mission, has enabled the F-35C and FA-18EF to achieve their goal of long-range flights. Another advantage of this aircraft is that it can spot and strike a target even if it is very far away. This change could alter maritime strategy in the Indo-Pacific and beyond, providing the Americans with more opportunities and strengthening their defense capabilities. The MQ-25 was developed in secrecy and then unveiled to the world. The jet engine is hidden inside the fuselage to protect it from infrared detection, and the wing fuselage design reduces radar signature without compromising stealth. It has foldable wings, but don't mistake this for a catapult. It's something entirely different. Designed to withstand strong winds, saltwater spray, and the harsh conditions of aircraft carrier operations. This drone is built for the flight deck. Such companies grow very quickly, but this company grew exceptionally fast. Boeing developed and tested the prototype known as T-1 within a few years, from the initial concept to the first test flights. The T-1 MQ-25 made its first flight in 2019 at Mid-America Airport in Illinois, not from an aircraft carrier, but from land. The primary objective has always been the same: to launch, refuel, and return in the same manner. In 2021, the MQ-25 took another step toward this goal by performing its first in-flight refueling of an FA-18 Super Hornet. The MQ-25 is just the beginning for the Navy. This is the first of its kind to be launched from aircraft carriers and eventually conduct air patrols without human observation, and it will continue to do so. The Stingray is essentially a proof of concept demonstrating that unmanned systems can operate in the world's most dangerous and complex aviation environment, the aircraft carrier. However, this path was not a smooth one. The MQ-25's predecessor was the more ambitious UCLASS, Unmanned Carrier-Launched Airborne Surveillance and Strike Program. Why was it canceled? And why was it a good idea to make an agent drone? The Navy decided to proceed step by step, starting with the more manageable target of fuel. The DNA of UCLASS is still present in the MQ-25, which is designed to be scalable, adaptable, and ultimately capable of carrying sensors, data links, and even weapons. Beyond its technical specifications and test successes, the MQ-25 Stingray aims to transform everything about airborne operations. For over a century, daring pilots, the roar of afterburners, and thrilling landings on a swaying deck have been hallmarks of aircraft carrier aviation. Now humans are taking a back seat as artificial intelligence takes center stage. Additionally, these devices are not playing separate roles but are fully integrated into frontline naval operations. This aircraft does not prefer to take off from desert-like areas in Africa and prefers to fly over the seas. This represents a shift in perspective. There is also a strategic component to this situation. The U.S. Navy believes that pilots should demonstrate their capabilities by conducting power displays rather than putting themselves at risk, especially in the face of adversaries like China and Russia who employ anti-access area denial A2AD tactics. The MQ-25 enables Super Hornets and Lightning IIs to conduct deep strikes without endangering their tankers or crews, keeping soldiers out of harm's way so they do not get killed. This capability enhances the lethality, adaptability, and survivability of the carrier strike group. And most importantly, this aircraft was much ahead of other unarmed aircraft, which were very fortunate, but still ahead of armed aircraft. Artificial intelligence-enabled aircraft are launched from here and refuel other aircraft and jam their radars, thus disrupting your opponent's game in the air. All these unmanned aerial vehicles are unmanned, coordinated and networked. The main plan for the MQ-25 is to make it an aircraft capable of flying for extended periods. There is also an industrial story. After losing previous major fighter jet contracts, Boeing aimed to surpass other aircraft with this model, which was a challenging task, but they succeeded. Thanks to the rapid development of the T-1 prototype and the Navy's ability to meet delivery deadlines, this aircraft is now and will continue to be the king of the skies worldwide. However, the Navy's response to the MQ-25 is undoubtedly the most striking aspect. Sailors and pilots are practicing with this system, integrating it into deck routines and preparing for a future where the aircraft carrier flight deck will no longer operate with 100% human power. At first, eliminating humans did not inspire much confidence in the aircraft, but it is currently being planned for the future. The MQ-25 is not just a drone, it is a revolution. And this has significant implications in a very traditional area of naval aviation. Over the decades, every aspect of aircraft carrier operations has gradually changed. Imagine an aircraft that flies from the same location with fewer people and requires less assistance, and you end up spending much less money. It is said that the aircraft will be like driving a Tesla. This vision of the future is reflected in its design. The Stingray was not designed to look threatening. There are still no weapons on this aircraft. Instead, fuel tanks, sensors, and communication systems are housed in its sleek, stealth-capable fuselage. Its mission is to enable the strike group to fly further, not to destroy the target, but to fight effectively by using its intelligence. And this could be the most effective target in modern conflicts. There is also a deeper significance here. The MQ-25 symbolizes a shift in trust. The goal has always been to remove humans from the military and replace them with artificial intelligence, but the problem was that no one trusted it. They trusted humans more. Now they are entrusting one of the most delicate and dangerous tasks, takeoff and landing from an aircraft carrier to an unmanned aerial vehicle. What's more, it is succeeding in this task. These aircraft, equipped with artificial intelligence, now aim to become the aircraft of the future. What this could mean on a global scale is even more exciting. If done on a large scale, even your enemies will want to acquire this aircraft. Carrier-capable UAVs are not only available to the United States, but also to anyone who embraces modern technology, and they can be produced more easily. This has significant implications for air combat, naval strategy, and international deterrence. Therefore, as the MQ-25 prepares to fully enter service, it is important to consider whether we are witnessing the future of naval aviation or the beginning of something even more ambitious. To find out, follow this channel to see more different aircraft. The MQ-25 Stingray does not have the mysterious stealth of the F-35C or the thunderous noise of the FA-18 landing on an aircraft carrier deck. However, its quiet revolution more than compensates for this shortcoming. This machine, a technological turning point, provided autonomous navigation at sea and the first opportunity for flight, which surpassed everything else. This is not just a fancy test platform or a reconnaissance drone. It is the first unmanned aerial vehicle fully compatible with the complex ballet of aircraft carrier operations. This alone changes everything. However, the MQ-25 is just the beginning. Fighter jets, electronic warfare vehicles, and likely everyone else will now have access to next-generation unmanned flight capabilities thanks to this aircraft. The U.S. Navy is approaching an era where manned aircraft will be the exception rather than the rule on the deck. This evolution will face obstacles such as budget constraints, technological barriers, and theological inertia. Those who take the first step are always ahead. Moreover, the MQ-25 is proof that adaptation has already begun. Today, it may be refueling Super Hornets, but this technology has advanced so far that it can now do things that no one else can do. Even without weapons, the Stingray is considered one of the most important aircraft to ever be developed, thanks to its ability to extend range, reduce risk, and change the rules of naval warfare. We will be grateful for this aircraft in the future. Now the question is yours. Is the MQ-25 a plan for a radical change in how we fight at sea, or could it establish a new dominance? It seems possible.